Hello, everyone, and welcome to Be Bold, Fierce, Unstoppable. I'm your host, Zach Lyotis. And today's podcast, I am so excited to have Nate. He's a fitness and nutrition expert, coach, speaker, and writer who believes that being in incredible shape gives you a massive advantage in business, focus, and relationships. I second that notion. He also happens to be a dad, husband, and the #1 best-selling author of the $1 Million Body Method and Passport Fitness. Nate helps business owners and entrepreneurs improve their physique, finances, and family time using fitness and nutrition as force multipliers. Nate is a coach, speaker, and writer whose work has been popularized in media outlets such as the Huffington Post, Testosterone Nation, Ask Men, Breaking Muscle, Stack Media, and Thrive Global. Help me welcome Nate to the show. Hello, Nate. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me on, Zach. I'm super excited to chat.
I'm so excited to have you on here. And of course, I'm going to have you on here because you speak and represent everything that I feel like I have gone through in probably 8 years of my life. In the last 8 years, I would say, well, the last 7 now. But when you say in your first paragraph, incredible shape gives you massive advantage in business, focus, and relationship, I truly do second that because I went through a moment in my life where I gained a lot of weight. I didn't want to talk to people, which means my business went down. And I also lost a sense of my confidence because I didn't like the way I looked in clothes. So that really hit home to me when I read your bio, and I was like, oh yeah, this is really something that we have to have this conversation, because I know there's a lot of other women out there, especially women that are maybe going through this transitional phase in their life, and they don't feel confident in their body. They don't feel confident in the clothes that they're wearing, or they don't even realize being out of shape is a sense of losing that sense of confidence as well. Can we go down that path of how being physically fit, mentally, physically, emotionally helps us in business, in relationships, and with just our own self?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to talk about this because I think this is a very important topic, because even if you've never experienced this like outwardly, I still think it's something that internally can it's not just like on or off, right? It's not binary. There's like a spectrum. So I think that like kind of checking and seeing where we are at on the spectrum can be really important. And so I know that like a lot of us are like, oh, I've gained some weight. I don't necessarily feel confident in my clothes. I had something similar when I was younger, where I just didn't feel confident. And it was because I was super, super skinny. And I remember one time this girl, and this is like happening in high school a long time ago. So it really stuck with me. She was like, hey, let me see your arms. And I was like, okay, like getting some girls' attention. That's cool, right? And she goes, look, I told you his arms are smaller than mine, to her friend. And I was like, oh man, like brutal. And like, so I think that like when it comes to like our relationships with our physical body and how we feel about ourselves, whether you have some weight to lose, have some weight to gain, whatever that is, you don't like the way your nose is or something like that, we start having this little track that just plays in the back of our mind, right? And it talks about how we're not enough, or we don't look X, or we don't like fit this specific mold. And all that does, I feel like, Zach, is it just pulls away from our energy and our ability to give, to create, to move forward. So even without even talking about what happens when you are carrying around more visceral belly fat and like the physical and physiological, biological, chemical reactions that are like negative based on that, without even getting into any of that stuff, just the fact that there's this consistent voice telling us something negative about ourselves means that we can never be fully present, means we can never put 100% of our energy or effort into something, because always some of it is directed back here. So as soon as we can rid ourselves of that voice and get rid of it, we have the ability to tap into 100% of our genius and 100% of our abilities, which I think until you experience it, you can't even imagine how powerful it is. So I think it's important to just check in with yourself and be like, what do I tell myself? What does that voice say? Is it positive? Is it negative? Would I talk to someone else in the same way that I talk to myself? I think those questions are like really key to like the starting off and making a decision, rather than like, just kind of existing and going through life with decisions made for you,
That is so true, because it was that little thought in my head that would always come up if I went shopping. And it was like, you look awful in that. Look at that muffin top. And I was like, I would leave the mall stressed out, and then I would start wearing baggy clothes. And I remember I was in California one year, and I went shopping and I bought this top, and I love this top. And I went to my Airbnb and I go to the girl, look what I bought. She goes, you look like a potato sack. I
Savage.
started laughing and I go to her, I feel like a potato sack, because I was hiding. I was literally hiding from my own self. So when you're saying that being fit, and I know that you're talking about physically fit as much as I think you're talking about mental fitness too, because I'm reading your book, the 28 Days Millionaire Body Method. And you have a lot of great tools and techniques in there to get you there. And you do talk about mindset, and you talk about other things. I haven't gone through the whole book, but I am going to do the book. And I really enjoyed what I've read so far. I think everything that was going on in me was a reflection to how I was eating, was a reflection to how much water I was drinking, was a reflection to how I was expressing myself. So there's so much that maybe people don't realize in putting their physical body with their mental state and the outcome of their life, especially their relationships, even sexually. You know what I mean? That's a huge thing sexually. If you're not comfortable within yourself, you'll never be comfortable sexually. So this is where a lot of this stuff came from me. And this is like a huge healing process. And I went through a healing process of saying, you know what, you're fine. Just lose a couple of pounds. You've been there before. You've done it. It's not rocket science. Drink more water, move your body, move the energy in your body. And, you know, I wake up happier in the morning. Like I said to you before the show, I'm up at 4:30, 5:30, the latest. And I wake up excited. I wake up like, yeah, what am I doing today? Whereas before it'd be like, oh, I gotta get up. Let me just, I don't even lay, as you see, I need an hour in bed before I even get up. Now it's boom, I'm gone. Let's go. Let's do this. So how do people get into that mindset through just tapping into their physique by doing a 28-day process like you have in your book? You talk about a 20-day process. How are people able to tap into that and feel that greatness come out of that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I like what you said earlier, Zach, about your like the physical and mental being linked. And I think those things are stuck together and we can't separate them, because if you're mentally healthy and physically obese, you'll never be as healthy as if you had that physical fitness as well. If you're shredded, you have a six pack, but you got like a lot of stuff going on, a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of, like whatever, like depression, you're never going to be completely healthy, like in spite of how your body looks. Mm-hmm. So I think really one of the big things that I love to speak with my clients about is helping them connect the fact that physical fitness is not just vanity. Physical fitness is important if you want to have financial success. Not only do people get paid more who are in shape within like a certain BMI range, they get paid like 5 to 7% more. But also like the energy and the focus that come along with like the body that you're looking for, that directly translates to more sales, more focus, more just better presence, more charisma, better confidence. So it's easier to make a sale if you're an entrepreneur. It's easier to go out and like recruit and build new business if you are a business owner. It's easier to get in front of a group of people and talk and present and give like great rationale for why you should get the raise if you're employed in a corporation. So those things are completely linked. And then also like, yes, fitness and financial success are linked, but also fitness and relationship success. Like you said before, like if you're not confident with who you are, you'll never be like competent or confident with your sexuality if you don't feel good in your skin. So that's going to be a challenging aspect of relationships. If you're always showing up to relationships and you have this negative self-talk, then we always put on other people our own deepest insecurities. So you're always going to see people as being this kind of way or that kind of way based on how you're feeling. And you'll never be able to show up fully present until you eliminate that, like that voice. I don't know if you've ever seen, I've got a 3-year-old. So we watched a lot of Disney Plus. There's a new movie out on Disney Plus called Luca. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen Luca.
It's about a sea monster who lives in like a little Italian villa and goes out on land or whatever else. And he meets this other guy and they start talking. And one of the things like the older kid is telling the younger kid, he's like, whenever you have that voice in your head, that's like, you should be scared. You should be whatever. He says that voice, that's name is Bruno. And to get rid of that voice, you got to say Silenzio Bruno. And I love it. I think it's awesome because like, I think that like all of us have Bruno living in our heads and talking to us. And so until we can get rid of that negative self-talk, we're never going to have as much financial success as we want. We're never going to have as much relationship success as we want. And we're never going to feel the way we want to feel physically. So I think all those things go together. And if you can start connecting the dots there, that it's not just about, I need to lose 3 pounds or I need to stop eating muffins, whatever else. And you're like, listen, my success, the things that are really important to me, maybe you don't love working out. Maybe you don't love like ideas of nutrition or meal prep or whatever else. But if you can go, listen, this is so important for my relationship with my spouse, with my relationship with my kids, with my, like the job and like the career that I've chosen for myself, those things all matter. This is the path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You couldn't say that any better. You couldn't have said that any better because of your family matters and you have kids, especially, and they're 3-year-old or 4-year-old or 10-year-old, and you are overweight and you don't have that energy to run around with them, then you're really not enjoying your family as much.
The other day we were at a hotel and I was like grabbing the car and my 3-year-old sees a bunny out in the desert. I live in Arizona. So it's like parking lot, complete desert. Like, I don't know just how it is.
I love it there.
And she's like, rabbit. And she's like, gone. And my wife's like holding our 5-month-old. And I'm like, okay, gotta go get her. So I'm like running after her and she's fast. She's super fast. And so I finally like grab her like 40, 50 yards away. I pick her up. But man, if I wasn't able to run, like, what is she going to do? Run into a cactus, get bit by a snake? Like, she's not going to catch the bunny. She's not that fast. So like, it's those little things that make me think like, oh my gosh, like I'm so blessed to have the physical capacity to chase her down or to follow her when she's on her scooter, just being like, phew, off, like those things really matter to me. Fitness is great. I like working out, but that's what matters.
And that's exactly what it is. If you love your kids, everyone, but you are not in shape, you need to say to yourself, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm actually doing it for my kids. And in return, not only are you taking care of your kids, but you're also taking care of your finances because you do build that extra confidence within yourself. And I could say this because I had another podcast called Unfuck Your Mind, and I refused to do video. Yeah, I refused to do video interviews on that one. It was all MP3. Because I didn't feel confident in front of the camera. And then I was like doing Be Bold, Fierce, Unstoppable. I was like, no, we need to get on camera now. We need to like really get in this because I had to build my confidence, right? So it's interesting that paradigm shift that happens within us. Even drinking a little bit of extra water will bring you that sense of confidence because you're letting go of all that energy in your body.
Totally. And then every single time you make a health or fitness minded decision, you're investing. I think of it as like, you want to build self-esteem, you want to build self-confidence. Okay, well, you have to do esteemable actions. You can't just like build it from nothing and be like, boom, I have self-esteem now. You don't, that's fake. Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to start doing things that are esteemable, worthy of esteem. And like, it doesn't have to be like helping an old lady cross the street or saving a kitten out of a tree. Simply getting up in the morning and doing the first daily investment, drinking some water and doing 60 seconds of explosive exercise. That's a W. That's getting your day started with a win. And if you can stack these little baby wins over and over and over again, you look back and you're like, whoa, I just killed those 3 months. I just killed the year. I haven't missed a workout in 5 months. Like that's when it starts to really matter. But it all starts with those little baby wins every single day that you're getting. So whether that's like taking some supplements in the morning, having a shake, following my 7 daily investments, drinking some water, going on a walk, all those little things matter. All of it adds up.
And I love that you said small steps, because I know when people try to get in a fitness routine, they think they're going to conquer 10 things at one time. And then it becomes overwhelming. And then you're like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is too much for me. So when you're doing it in small incremental steps, it's more doable. And this is where I think a lot of people have that difficulty, because we want to lose that 10 pounds 3 weeks ago, right? But we didn't realize that we didn't drink are, you know, maybe 8 glasses of water, which I think you should be drinking way more than 8 glasses of water a day. Like, literally, you need to drink about 3 to 4 liters of water. Your body's 1.5 liters just to survive on its own. But in heat in Arizona, you might need about 3 liters to survive, especially in the heat down there.
Oh, I'm about a 2-gallon a day kind of guy.
That's 8 liters then.
I sweat a lot though. I'm a sweaty human. So, but also like in the summer in Arizona, like the expectation is that I sweat all day. I don't even try not to. I wear 3 shirts every single day. I just change in and out of them. One of the daily investments, Zach, in the book is 1 gallon of water per day. And maybe it's a little more than some people need and a little less than some other people need. But I think if you hit a gallon a day, you're on the right track. And I don't know if you know much about like the biological, like how fat loss works, but it requires 11 pounds of oxygen or 11 pounds of water and 28 pounds of oxygen to burn a pound of fat.
Interesting. I never knew that. Can we talk more about that? Because that's an interesting concept. I never thought of that. I know drinking water helps you flush out fat, but I didn't realize it was that much.
Totally. And so here's how like the process works is that a lot of people think I'm at the gym, I'm on the Stairmaster, I'm burning fat. You're not. You're at the gym, you're putting in the effort, you're pulling from most of the time glycogen, which is like sugar that goes into your liver, into your muscles. And that's what you use for energy. Once that's exhausted, then your body has to pull from somewhere else. So at that point, we'll start pulling from fat to turn it into glycogen to burn it off. But most of the fat loss that we undergo, especially during like a weight loss, process, happens at night when we're breathing out moist air. That's where the byproducts of fat are actually leaving our body through the air we're breathing out. So if you're not adequately hydrated, you'll never be able to burn as much fat as someone who has the hydration behind them. So it's critical to your success. So the other thing about fat is that like a lot, and then this is some great news for people who are like, I'm trying everything and it's not working. It's slow progress. Yes, because when you have a fat cell, what happens is we pull all the stuff out of the fat cell, we start breaking it down into triglycerides, start turning it into glycogen, start moving it out of the body, but the fat cell doesn't change. Instead, it gets displaced. So the fat comes out, water goes in. So the fat cell is filled with water. So you're like, man, I'm doing all these right things. I'm eating tilapia and broccoli. I'm going on the Stairmaster. And you're like, but the scale's not moving. Well, your fat cell's still there. It's just filled with water. Give it a couple of days and it's going to just like basically like disintegrate. And that water will leave the cell and you'll see the weight loss at that time. But water is a key crucial component of fat loss and of energy. Because if you are 3% dehydrated, Zach, it can result in 20 to 30% strength loss. So that goes if you're 3% dehydrated, which is quite a bit substantial, you'll go from bench pressing 100 pounds to only be able to bench press 70 pounds. So it makes a monster difference. And plus water is like free. So it's like, you don't have to buy anything crazy, no weird supplements, no shake weights, just have a nice glass of the old ice juice.
So I know water, like our body's made up of mostly water. Do you want to talk about that? Because even when you're talking about fat and water going into it and losing the fat at the same time, people don't realize that we're basically made out of water.
Yeah. And so water is going to really impact not only your energy and your mood, but your satiety levels and the hunger signals we have, as well as making sure that you have plenty of energy, both mentally and physically, because your muscles are mostly made of water as well. So like everything in your body is like 60 to 70% water. So it's just critical that you're getting enough of it on a daily basis, which is why I think a gallon is probably kind of like the baseline, what we should all be aiming for. And so I've had clients, Zach, who I've talked to, or people who come on who's like, I've tried everything. I can't lose weight. Nothing works for me. And then it kind of comes out. I'm like, what are you drinking? What do you like? How much water are you having per day? And they're like, I don't know. I don't think I've had, I don't really like water. So I'd mostly drink coffee. I go like, oh, okay. That's something we can resolve. So start getting them to drink water and then the fat will just melt off. It comes right off. So someone who's really dehydrated, it can completely change their life without even having to do anything crazy. You don't have to go do a boot camp or a HIIT class. You just got to drink a gallon of water per day. And if I could get everyone in the US, Zach, to drink a gallon of water per day and sleep 7 hours per night, like the obesity in this country would drop significantly. That and guaranteed.
I believe that. So guys, drink your gallon of water. And another thing when it comes to water, I want to say this because this is something that you may not know, and it's in Nate's book as well, is that water could trigger the same emotional feeling within you, thinking that you're having a hunger feeling. But at the end of the day, what your body's asking for is more water and not food. So a lot of people go to food more like snacking rather than saying, you know what, let me go grab a glass of water. But yeah, cheers. I live off this. I need water at the end of the day. So I've had a lot of people when I was working, I was doing a colon hydrotherapy, and I used to have a lot of people saying, I don't like water. I drink tea instead. I don't think that's a great way of trying to substitute water, period. I don't think Gatorade, I'm going to say this again, Gatorade is not a substitute of water. It's just a substitute of sugar. There's a lot of sugar in Gatorade. I think there's 26 tablespoons of sugar in Gatorade or something ridiculous.
I think it's like 32 grams of sugar. So I don't know how many tablespoons that is, but
that's
plenty.
just more than you need. Yeah, just more than you need. So let's talk about how you can't substitute water and why you shouldn't substitute water with tea, coffee. Coffee dehydrates you first and foremost. Gatorade is not a thirst quencher. It does not help you bring your energy levels up. Actually, it's going to give you a crash. Let's talk about how you shouldn't be substituting water and how you could use water to help your adrenals or to give you more energy at the same time too. I know that people put a little bit of salt in water and their lemon as well.
Yeah. So generally speaking, when people are like, oh, I drink a lot of tea, drink a lot of coffee, does that count towards my water total? I always tell them no, because coffee is at best a net neutral because caffeine's a diuretic. So it flushes it out. Tea has caffeine in it, a little bit less, but I still wouldn't count that towards the amount of water you're drinking during the day. And what happens is when you stop drinking enough water, most of the time, most of us exist in a state what's called insulin resistance. And an easy way to find out if you have insulin resistance is simply to measure your waistline at your belly button. Okay. So like you can go to a doctor and have some tests done and they can tell you. I prefer to just find out right now because I want things done right now. I don't know if you're the same way, Zach, but what you do is you take a tape measure about your belly button, and then divide that by your height. If that number shows up as being higher than 0.46, then congratulations, you have some degree of insulin resistance. And when you have the insulin resistance, your body's no longer sending the correct signals to cue your hormones to do their jobs. We have two really important hormones called leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is the hunger hormone. So that's the one that we get that signal and you hit like 10:30, you're at work and you're like, I'm like a little hungry right now. That's weird though, because I just had breakfast. Why am I hungry? Most of the time, your leptin signaling is being hijacked by your body because it starts to think, hey, we need some energy, we need some water, but we can't hear it appropriately. So we're just like, energy, hunger, let's get that donut in the break room, rather than being like, hey, let's have another 16 ounces of water and see how we feel. So I think that is critical to long-term success, is just when you have that sensation of hunger, stop for a second, drink a glass of water and wait 10 minutes. Did that hunger signal subside? If so, you probably weren't hungry. You're probably just getting those incorrect signals. The other way to get to the point where you're starting to feel like completely regulated hunger signals, where your body's actually being like, now we're hungry, and that is the case, is by getting to insulin sensitivity, which is bringing that waist to height ratio below the 0.46. But that's a longer term play. That might take some people 2 months, 6 months, a year.
Okay. Wow. That's significant to get to that point, 2 to 6 months.
It depends on like where people are starting from, but also like most of the time we don't gain all of our weight in 6 months or a year. Most of the time it's over the course of 5 years, 10 years, 2 decades,
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned earlier, we want it now. We want it. And I just said that too, because I didn't really like that. We want that easy button, right? We're like, I gained all this weight over 10 years. Why do I think I deserve a 6-month fix or a 6-week fix? Why do I need to do like a 3-week detox? I think we give ourselves a little bit more time, let ourselves off the hook, and think that's like, hey, when we go a little slower progress, this means we get to keep it longer. I think that's important for when starting off anything new.
Yeah. And I like that you said that, like, slow progress is long progress at the end of the day. Do not start these crash diets, because you're going to end up gaining more weight and you're going to be frustrating. And this is when I'm going to hear, it doesn't work. I've tried every diet out there and it's not working. Like I hear people saying
100%.
this all the time. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm sorry, but chicken and salad at dinner time every day is just not going to work for you. When I hear people saying that to me, I cringe. I'm like, how can you eat chicken every day with salad at the end of the day? Right.
No, that's
So
not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Not sustainable, really, right?
mhm, that's how I feel too. Let's talk about the $1 million body method we have a great book. Like I said, I'm reading it right now. I am going to do the 28-day challenge on there because I think it's really important. Nate has it right there. It's on my computer. I'm reading it. Let's talk about 28 days. Why 28 days?
I think that 28 days gives us enough of an opportunity to do something new, have a finite amount of time where we're doing it, where it's not like, hey, we're doing this for the foreseeable future, which is helpful for our brains. So you're able to see results. You have a finite timeline, and it's like this book is basically what I would call like connect the dots. So it's very, very laid out, very structured. And I think at the end of that time period, it becomes more beneficial for people to open up their like the ideas that they're following here. So it's rather than following this very, very strict framework, you just follow along with the guidelines of the framework, and you can do it sustainably for a long period of time. I really tell people a lot of times, like, hey, your fat loss results honestly don't even matter. Because I've seen this so many times where people are like, man, I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. And I'm like, great, congratulations. Did you keep it off? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
So fat loss results mean nothing. Exactly what you said, Zach. Like if you're eating chicken and salad every single night, and you lost weight, but you hated it, well, it's not going to work. It doesn't work long-term, because what you do to get the weight off is what you have to continue to do to sustain it. So, I mean, we're all familiar with the show, The Biggest Loser, right? And they take people who are 300, 400, 500 pounds, and they put them through these grueling workouts, and they just beat the shit out of them. And then they make them eat these like 1,200, 1,500 calorie diets. And so now these people have made these great transformations. They lost 200, 300 pounds. But the bummer is, and the reason there's a 90% recidivism rate from Biggest Loser is because if they want to continue to keep those results, they need to work out a minimum of an hour per day, working their asses off, and they continue to eat 1,200 calories per day. And if they don't do those things, that weight comes right back. And so to have something that's actually going to last long-term, we want to make sure that you have something in place that you're like, yes, I can do this. This is not hard for me. I get it. I see how this connects to my family and financial goals. And I see that also it's not that hard for me to make these small adjustments. And once you have those two things in place, then the path to fat loss becomes very, very, very simple. And just kind of you'll just do it week after week, day after day, because I'd rather have you following a plan 80% for a year than following a plan 100% for only a week.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because I often thought about that. Those on The Biggest Loser, how do they sustain, that 1 hour intense workout when they don't have a personal trainer in their home, if they can't afford a person, whatever the situation is? And how do you actually survive off 1,200 calories a day if you don't have that nutritionist to cook for you and count your calories? And I've always wondered, like, I know they have like after the show, they used to have, I don't watch TV anymore. I'm so far out of TV world right now. I have no idea what there is anymore, but I often wonder, like, do these people gain back that weight? Because at the end of the day, their personal trainer is gone, their nutrition is gone, and so is their support system. And that's, I think, really important to have a support system when you're doing something like this, regardless if it's your spouse, your friend, a cheerleader, someone at the club. I think to be able to lose weight, you do go through a whole mind fuck at the end of the day, because old patterns and beliefs come up, and then you get pulled back. You get pulled back and say, you know what, I can't do this. It's like what Nate was talking about, is having that Bruno in your head that you have to deal with at the end of the day. Right?
Yeah. Because if you don't fix that underlying problem, yeah, sure, you can gut it out and like make stuff happen. But like if you don't fix your Bruno, if you don't fix your personal relationship with food, if you don't pick a sustainable way of going forward, your results are going to be fleeting at best. And then also, like, if you're going to have fleeting results, if you know you're just going to diet down and then it's going to come right back, don't bother, because you only get about 3 of those in your life before your metabolism really starts to shit the bed. And so helping someone who's lost weight 3 or 4 times and has gone up and down, up and down, up and down. Now the process is slower, harder, more challenging. Every step of the way is that, like, you're hitting a lot more plateaus. it's really not fun. So if like you don't get to lose weight a bunch of times and then have it be easy, like it gets harder and harder and harder every single roller coaster you put into your life.
Especially as women, when we go through our life-changing moments, between the 40s and 50s, I don't know, that 50s is usually the number. And then you go through that. And a lot of women that I've spoken to say like they're gaining weight because now they're premenopausal and they're going through a whole bunch of stuff. I have a thyroid problem. So my problem was dealing with my thyroid because I don't even have a thyroid. So that was my other issue, that I was gaining weight slowly, but I also did stop working out. I did stop really focusing on what I was eating. So really at the end of the day, I think I lost control of food because food got control of me. And that's the thing. Once you lose control of food, you're doomed, because then you're going to pull that bag of chips instead of having yourself a salad, because it's quicker to grab than make a nice quick salad, right?
Yeah.
So,
plus people who like create chips get paid millions of dollars to make those chips very, very like palatable. They give you the exact right crunch. Like the people at McDonald's who are manufacturing those Happy Meal and like the burgers and stuff like that, they're very soft. There's a lot of salt in them. The French fries, they're designed for us to like grab a bunch of them and just like, let's put them in our mouth. No one's like grabbing one French fry and being like, I'm gonna eat this till it's done, right? That's not that's not how we do fast food. And part of it is, like our culture, but part of it is the way food is designed, right? It's built in a lab to increase or to decrease satiety, to increase the speed at which you can eat. So that way you can eat more of it without feeling full. And so like when it comes to the point where you're like, hey, I've got these French fries or I got this apple, our brain's always like, let's get the French fries, right? Because it's like, it's still signaling our pleasure receptors in our brain, because even French fries have sugar on them. Because they like, and if they give them the perfect blend of sugar, fat, and salt, it just lights up those dopamine receptors in our brain, lights up the pleasure receptors. So why put yourself in a position where you're forced to make that choice between, like something healthy and something not healthy, celery and chips, because like chips are going to win out most of the time.
Yeah, unless my apple has peanut butter and cinnamon on it, chips will probably win out. But I want to say this, because you said something about sugar and salt, and I want everyone to know that look at your ingredients in salt, because I could guarantee you that your salt may have sugar substitute in it as a filler as well. And that's something that I learned when I was reading a lot of labels. I was like, why is there sugar in the salt? Wow. So I was kind of like taken back when I saw that. So take a look at your label and see if there's any sugar or anything else. If you're having salt, it should have one ingredient: salt. That's it, period.
I'm a big fan of that pink Himalayan sea salt.
Have you ever tried the black volcano salt?
I like that.
Oh, so delicious. So delicious.
I got like 9 types of salt in my house right now.
Oh yeah. See, I wasn't, after cancer, I couldn't even handle salt. I stopped having salt for about, I would say 10 years. I went to go see a Chinese medicine doctor and he goes, you have no salt in your body. Your body's craving salt.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I started eating salt. Yeah. I didn't realize that my body needed the salt. So it's something that people told me, don't have too much salt. So I just took salt right out of my diet, because I was just having natural salt, just whatever was coming with the food, but no added salt whatsoever. And now I'm always sprinkling salt on stuff. Like I'm like, oh, my body needs this. But
I do salt in my protein shakes every morning too, because if it's hot out, especially, it helps with the hydration. Plus, salt's delicious. So I put it on a lot of stuff, because especially if you don't have any sort of like blood pressure or hypertension issues, salt is healthy. So like if we can kind of just like shut the debate on that, like salt is good for you unless you are like hypertensive. And in that case, talk to your doctor. Don't listen to me.
Yeah. Whatever we're saying here, consult a doctor before you even do the book, before you do anything. Consult your doctor, talk to someone. This is just tools and techniques to help you through whatever you're going through. But at the end of the day, consult your doctor when it comes to any weight loss program. Really get a physical done in there and see where your markers are at more than ever, so that you could actually have results at the end of the day and say, hey, within 3 months, this is how much my body changed. This is what my triglycerides changed, my liver changed, my everything changed. So consult the doctor before you even embark on any weight loss program. We're just going to put that out there now.
Good disclaimer there, Zach.
Yeah, we have to put a disclaimer on that one. Let's get back to the book, because in the book you talk about your morning routine. And I have a morning routine. It's wake up, pray, meditate, write, go for a walk. That's my morning routine. But I do drink water in the morning too, by the way. I do drink water in the morning, and then I'll have my tea right after that. But you talk about waking up in the morning and having, I think it was 16 ounces of water as soon as you wake up? Higher? 32 ounces? 32 ounces of water. Okay. I knew it was something like that. So 32 ounces of water as soon as you wake up. That's just to get your body basically regulated and working for you. And then you spoke about, which was interesting, you spoke about doing what is the word? Explosive workout, like an explosive movement. So not just squats, but jumping or skipping, or, oh God, you said something and I wanted to get sick what was it? Burpees. When you said burpees, I was like, yo, I'll skip rather than have burpees. Like, no, I will not do burpees in the morning.
To be honest with you, out of the hundreds of mornings I've done this routine, I've done burpees 0 times. So.
Okay, so we're on the same page. I handle that. Awesome. Can we talk about why do an explosive workout 30 minutes after you wake up?
Yeah, absolutely. So within the first 30 minutes, if you're ready to get out the door, if you like the type of person who like craves coffee and really just likes like, man, I can't get started until I get this coffee in my system or whatever else, this is going to change your life. Because basically what we want you to do is wake your body up naturally by working with your central nervous system. Because when we wake up, we're still in what's called the parasympathetic nervous system dominance. Okay. PNS dominance, that is rest and digest state. On the other side, we've got sympathetic nervous system dominance, which is your fight or flight, right? And again, not binary, not on off, it's a spectrum. So over here, you're asleep, and over here, you're like running from a velociraptor. So when you wake up over here, we want to move our body down this pathway to start getting that activation. And one easy way to do that is through some explosive exercises. So you mentioned burpees, Zach, but like jumping jacks, I love jump rope. We have a little rebounder trampoline that I think is great. Do 60 seconds on that all the time. Or sometimes I'll just do like shadow boxing. Okay. But just for 60 seconds of something a little bit faster paced or explosive, so not like a wall sit, but like jumping jacks, can start your body up, can start your metabolism up, can get your brain firing way, way more than a cup of coffee ever could. So if you're the type of person who needs to get up and get stuff done, if you're there in your life, then this is a tip that you cannot sleep on. It's amazing. And plus it'll really eliminate the need for coffee within the first hour of waking up, which is perfect and goes along with your body's blood chemistry.
So where you say like do a 60-minute exercise for 30 minutes. So pick different things.
This is a 60 second thing. Yeah. So you don't need to do a workout. You can just do 60 seconds of jumping jacks and then move on. You don't need to like make it anything complicated or get on a Peloton.
Now, if you don't have 60 seconds in the morning to give your body that crunch, I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. It's beyond my scope.
Yeah.
But I really came up with this morning routine. I've done a lot in the past. I've done Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning, the Savers. I've done different variations of like meditation and journaling and also on gratitude, all sorts of stuff, affirmations. But what I found is that like at the end of the day, what I wanted to feel after I woke up was I wanted to feel like I won. I wanted to feel like I got a W. I wanted to feel like I had energy. I wanted to feel like ready to start my day. And my day starts with my daughter being like, Dad, let me show you this thing. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I'm clapping. And I'm like, that's boring. But so like, our day kicks off right away. So I wanted to have something that I could put into place that I could still get all those things done, even with an incredibly busy schedule. And even with my toddler demanding my attention at any moment, because there's no way that once she's up there, she's allowing me to meditate. It's not happening.
Yeah. And you're not journaling as well, unless you're coloring. So
that's right. Unless I can journal on like the Snow White coloring pages.
There you go. So your daily investment number 2 is the entrepreneur breakfast. A lot of people miss breakfast, don't realize how important breakfast is. Let's talk about that. And can we also talk about how people go on this? Oh, what's the word that they use? They're fasting. What do you think about fasting when it comes to breakfast and fasting?
I used to be a big fan of fasting. I used to think it was like critical for a lot of people's success. It was a really easy way of like eliminating like an entire like meal or two. Recently though, I've not found it to be quite as effective. And the reason why is that when people do when you're fasting, what most people are talking about is this prevalent idea of a 16-hour fast, basically skipping breakfast, and an 8-hour feeding window. So eating from like 12 to 8 p.m. at night, something like that. And so what happens for most people, and the reason I don't recommend this anymore, is that if you skip breakfast and you roll right into lunch, like having fasted, your tendency is to have a much bigger lunch. It's not to like eat like 2 hard-boiled eggs, and a couple of like things of vegetables. It's like, I'm hungry, let's go. And what happens then is that we talked about that central nervous system before, right? So you're in sympathetic dominance, right? You have a big meal, and boom, it shifts you right over into parasympathetic dominance. You're in rest and digest again. And anyone who's ever had Thanksgiving dinner knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? You don't want to like finish your dinner and go, who wants to play pickup basketball? You're like, who wants to sit on the couch? This guy,
Yeah, that's so true.
So entrepreneurs, business owners, parents, dads, that we need to have like the ability to have energy and not be like resigned to the lazy boy after our noon meal. So for that reason, I feel like breakfast has become one of the more important meals of the day. And I think that if you eat it in a specific way, it gives us several advantages. Number one, it gives you a nice, even supply of energy and blood sugar all day long if you eat it the right way. Number two, it keeps you from being starving by lunch. And number three, if you're having the right breakfast, it can actually trigger some fat burning effects throughout your day. So I think for those reasons, I'm a huge fan of breakfast. I talk a lot in the book about a protein shake, easy way of doing it. But literally, if anyone's listening right now and they can just incorporate a protein and a fat into their breakfast, so easy, such a game changer. And I'll give you my 3 favorites. Number one, protein shake, like I already mentioned. Yeah. Protein. I do a whey protein isolate and then like a peanut butter. Easy. I do that 90% of the time. It's just so simple. It's out the door. I'm like, I make one for myself. I make one for my wife. We move on. It's no big deal. The next thing, another easy one would be some eggs and avocado. Super simple, really delicious. And you can throw Cholula on it, which is really important.
What's that? Cholula?
Cholula, just a hot sauce. I put hot sauce on everything.
I was like, what is that? Hot sauce is life-saving. I love hot sauce.
I've been on a big green Tabasco kick recently, but Cholula is still up there. And then the last one, and this is like, people are like, oh, that's weird. It's not a breakfast food. Well, like, who said breakfast had to be like sugary, right? That's not like, that's not how it's been up until just like the last 40 years. Like this is a new invention, is like the rise of the breakfast cereal. So my other favorite one is a meat and nut breakfast. So one of my favorite things to eat in the morning is just chicken thighs and almonds. And if you've never tried it before, you got to give it a shot before you knock it, because it's really awesome. And the way you feel afterwards is incredible. It's just like, it's a game changer for your energy. So if you want to try something like that, where you can actually burn more fat throughout the day, have a ton of energy and feel amazing, give it a try.
Yeah. See, I can't, sometimes in the morning, the only thing I want is like you, just I have a shake. So I'll put a banana, I'll put some spinach, tons of spinach in there. I love my spinach in the morning. I always think about Popeye in the morning. I think I'm going to be Popeye in the morning. And yeah, peanut butter is something that I find having my shake in the morning and throwing peanut butter in there or almonds in there, I find that's a game changer. And I'm actually full longer. And sometimes I forget that I'm like, oh, I still have another shake that I could drink, because I do 2 shakes, because at the end of the day, I'm having my great podcast with hosts like you. So at the end of the day, I have my 2 shakes in one meal. So that's a great thing. And peanut butter, avocado and egg. Would you add any carbs to that? Would people have that with a bread, or just on its own, avocado and egg?
No, and that's one of the things about the program, is we want to eliminate our carbs until basically dinner time. And this goes against what most people are taught about nutrition. And like, if you look at like the food pyramid, what does it have at the bottom? Like grains, pastas, and like breads, So like, it just goes against everything that people have been taught. And I'm not trying to sit here, Zach, and tell you like, this diet is the right diet, and if you don't do this diet, you're stupid, because there's a lot of diets that can work. We know that diets work, especially fat loss diets work, if you eat less food than you output, right? So your inputs are lower than your outputs. That's going to work for fat loss. And at the end of the day, if you can find a system that's sustainable in a way that does that, and even if it's not the $1 million body method, great, live your life.
Yeah.
But I can confidently say, if you need energy, if you need focus all day long, this is one of the greatest diets on earth for that, because it's going to facilitate and work with your blood chemicals, with your hormones, to give you the energy, give you the focus, give you the mental acuity that's so important for business owners, parents, everywhere. Because like, if you don't have those things, like you may have heard the term, like fatigue makes cowards of all men. I think that's a George Patton quote. But if you're tired, if you're fatigued, you're going to be less effective in everything that you do. And then if you're tired, you're also going to be more susceptible to making the bad food decisions. So I can confidently say this is the diet that's going to give you the most energy. And it starts by eliminating your carbohydrates in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm a shake person in the morning, but I always find too, I think eliminating the word diet is very important in saying healthy living or healthy lifestyle. I think that alone, I think the word diet for a lot of people is like starvation. Right.
Yeah, a lot of people have negative experiences with that, right?
A negative experience. So I think if you're having a hard time with the word diet, just change it to I'm doing healthy living. I'm creating a healthy lifestyle, nutritional lifestyle. And that may change even the neurotransmitters in your mind for you to go a little bit longer and to recognize the results that you're doing. So that's also another thing, but that all sounds great. So
or steal the power back from that word and be like, I'm on a diet right now. Everyone's on a diet. And not only does my diet include the food I'm putting in my mouth, but it also includes what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, what I'm consuming in any form or fashion, what I'm reading, because all those things matter. And all of that plays into our physical and mental well-being. So like, regardless of if you're like following keto or paleo right now, we're all on a diet. We all have a diet, you know? So maybe steal the power back from like that word being like, we have to go on a diet. Yeah. Like, everyone has a diet. We all consume information, food, things like that. And and we all have room for improvement, probably.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know we were running out of time, but I want to go down your daily investment, the startup lunch. I think that's really important because I know there's a lot of business owners, our listeners, entrepreneurs, and sometimes they go, I just don't have time to eat. When I hear that, I cringe. I don't get it. I love food. I always have time to eat. Let's talk about the startup lunch.
So again, with the just like how we have like the entrepreneur's breakfast, the startup lunch is a zero carb or a low carb event. Okay. And the reason for this is very simple. Again, going back to how our bodies naturally process food and what it does for us. If you have a big lunch, if you go out and have a hamburger and fries, you go from sympathetic dominance to parasympathetic dominance. You're out for the afternoon. So most of us spend our mornings doing kind of deep work, the important things. Afternoons, for most of the business owners and dads I work with, it's time to check boxes. It's time to get things done, deliver this here, talk to this person here, get this thing crossed off. And if you're having to constantly like slog through it and you just kind of feel like you're just dripping out of your chair, like that's not a good place to be. So the lunch is designed to give you the vital nutrients that you need to continue to facilitate energy, focus, mental acuity, and we're going to last you until dinner. So I always encourage people to have a very light lunch, and then very highly focused on protein and vegetables. So protein, that could be eggs, egg whites, chicken thighs, chicken breast, even like beef jerky. Like some people, like I had a couple clients who were like, hey, the reason that this diet came about actually, Zach, was I was working with a roofer here in Arizona. And he was like, I'm on the road 12 hours a day. I eat out every single day for lunch. I'm not going to change that. I have 30 pounds to lose, but I don't even want to lose the weight. I just need more energy. What can I do for more energy? So we put together this plan for him that was based around how do you create maximum amount of energy, focus, and like enthusiasm, while still giving someone the freedom to eat out. And so what he's having is he'd like roll through the gas station and pick up like some turkey, like some like deli meat turkey, throw it like a pickle or some carrots or some celery strips and eat that. Also like gave him a couple of different options for like his favorite fast food restaurants, but like just ways that he could eat high protein, high vegetable for lunch and then move on because it gives him energy. It helps him check those boxes. You don't feel like sluggish or run down. And then you can roll into dinner with a little bit of more flexibility, right? So dinner time, I feel like that's the time we break bread with our families. We go out to client dinners. We do all these things. And I don't want you to be like, oh no, I brought this Tupperware. It's asparagus and tilapia. You look like a fucking nerd when you show up at a dinner, your grandma's house with tilapia, like that. Everyone hates that. So again, it goes back to sustainability. Most people I talk to would rather eat light breakfast and lunch, which because again, they can connect it. I make more money when I eat light and then have more flexibility for dinner. So like, if I'm like, hey, I want you to have a carb, a protein, and a vegetable, and they want to have Lucky Charms for dinner, I'm like, go ahead. You want to have Lucky Charms and clams? Zach, that's gross, but okay, live your life.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
So Nate was talking about the daily investment 4, which is a CEO dinner. So we're going to go to daily investment number 5, the final deposit.
This is one I actually thought of earlier when you were talking about, when you said you woke up and you go, What am I doing today? This is going to eliminate that for you. And it's actually going to give you more enthusiasm, more excitement, because you're going to go, awesome. I'm going to do this, this, and this. Because before you go to bed, just taking, honestly, Zach, like 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and writing down what 3 things, if I were to accomplish them tomorrow, would make tomorrow a killer day for me. So a lot of times I was like, get a workout in, meet with this client, and then finish this presentation. Write a couple of emails, get back to so-and-so, and like go for a walk. And if you write those things down, you set the intention for tomorrow. So you wake up, you go, awesome. All I got to do is finish these emails, go for a walk, and do this. And I'll have killed it today. And it gives you so much like structure, and it's like, it gives you a target, right? And then additionally, and I'm a big believer in the subconscious mind and the power of the subconscious mind. So like, if you're like, okay, I got to get back to Ted and help him with this, or like figure out a way that we can make this work, or come to an agreement here. And you set that intention, you go to bed. Well, your subconscious mind doesn't sleep. It's up all night working on that for you. Yeah. Robert Louis Stevenson, the writer of Treasure Island and like a lot of other books, he called his subconscious mind his brownies, which is, I don't know, whatever. He's smart. He's smart. I'm not. I don't care. But he would write letters to his brownies, or he would like talk with them before he went to bed. And he said that's where he came up with the plot of Treasure Island. He would just be like, okay, so like the pirate, he's doing this, Long John Silver, and then what happens? And he goes to sleep, and he wake up and be like, there it is. And so he would set his subconscious mind to work for him on the plot points of all these famous and really, really well, like renowned novels. So if that works for like creative, famous authors, like how great is that going to be for us when we're like, I got to come up with a great presentation. I got to write an email. I got a speech to give,
That's amazing. That is definitely amazing. Daily investment number 6, liquid assets.
That's that we spent a lot of time at the beginning talking about this one. That's drink a gallon of water every day. Easy.
Awesome.
Out the door.
Awesome. There you go. Drink your water. Don't even think about having your 4 cups of coffee in the morning, because that doesn't wake you up. It's going to put you to sleep an hour later. Next, daily investment number 7, work hard, train harder.
I think that every single day you need to be putting in some sort of effort in terms of training. And I always make the distinction between training and exercise. Exercise is what you do to go get sweaty. Training is what you do to go get better. So if you're not getting better on a regular basis, then you're getting worse. So making sure that your training reflects your goals and your lifestyle. For most of us, that means resistance training 3 or 4 times per week. And then walking, honestly, is the easiest possible thing. If you like jogging, great. If you like biking, go ahead. But like walking is the easiest, lowest barrier of entry, gives us a huge return on our investment. It's incredible. So train every single day. Give yourself at least 20 minutes of training per day to reach your goals. And if you don't have 20 minutes, but you have Netflix, you watch TV today, you add 20 minutes.
Well, I was going to say, if you have 20 minutes, if you just stop getting off social media and worrying about what the world is doing and just focus on yourself. That's my 20-minute remark right there. There you go. Right? So weekly investment, fast 24 hours each week. I love that one.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of fasting. It sounded like I was down on it earlier because of I don't like the 16-hour fast. But 24-hour fast once a week, 24-hour fast, Zach, actually has been shown to be 3.5 times as effective as a single 16-hour fast. So you can get 3.5 days worth of fasting benefit out of a single day fast. It's also again, I love installing little safety nets or insurance policies into my training protocols, because I really believe that when you make it easy to succeed, then if you go to Disneyland and you have 6 churros, like you'll be fine. You get right back on, If you go and you have you have cake, or you do something, you're like, oh man, I'm off plan. It's okay. You have the plan in place. You have the framework to be able to be successful long-term, because now you're with a 24-hour fast weekly, you're cutting out 17% of your weekly calories in one go. Plus all the benefits to telomere length, longevity, they just can't be understated from not eating or like giving your system a chance to reset.
Now, in that fast, are you just drinking water in that fast?
Yeah, water, coffee, or tea is all good for me. There's no calories though.
Okay. There you have it, everyone. Your daily investment. Now you have the choice if you want to do it or not, because it matters how important your life is to you, how important your kids are to you, how important your business is to you, how important your sex life is to you. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to be blank out. because let me tell you, if you can't find it, you're going to have an issue with it at the end of the day. And I've said this to a lot of people out there. At the end of the day, your health is your life insurance to many other great things, to your finances, to your relationships, to not only your spouse, but to your kids, to those that you work with, to everyone, and most importantly, to yourself. And that's all that matters first, is for you to have that life insurance for yourself through the way you're going to eat, the way you're going to move your body, and most importantly, the Bruno in your mind of what they're saying to you. Nate, this was awesome. I could talk to you forever. And I haven't even read your whole book. I can't wait to read the whole book. I can't wait to follow your easy protocols that you have on there. And at the end of the day, I'd love to have you back after this 28 days that I go through and tell you how I felt doing your program.
I can't wait. I think it's going to be so sick to see like a step-by-step how it went for you. So yeah, I'd love to hear how that's going, what you thought of the 7 daily investments in practicality. Cause I think like anything is like, oh man, that sounds really good. Right. But does it work for you long-term? Do you feel successful? Are you getting wins daily? I think those questions are more important. And once you go through a full 28 days, you'll be able to answer those and be like, this is for me, this isn't for me, right? Like Bruce Lee said, take what is useful to you and leave the rest, right? So maybe my 7 daily investments don't make sense, but five of the 7, you're like, hell yeah, let's go. So I'm super excited for you, Zach.
I love it. I love it. For anyone that's interested in connecting with Nate, all of his socials, all of his links, everything's going to be in the show notes below. Get your body, mind, spirit in shape, everyone, because at the end of the day, your confidence is what comes from the inside out. And what you put in your mouth matters, especially what you digest matters even more. Because if you don't chew your food and you're just in a rush and you're constantly swallowing without chewing your food, forget about it. Your stomach does not going to digest anything. I used to be a colon hydrotherapist. I saw things coming out of people's body in whole. So I'm saying this to you right now, chew, chew, chew until it becomes liquid, and really start living your life on your terms, financially, spiritually, mentally, sexually. I'm going to throw the sexually in there because it does play a huge role. I'm not going to lie. At the end of the day,
I sugarcoat it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's stop sugarcoating it. Nate, again, thank you so much for being on the show. I had such a great pleasure talking with you, and I can't wait to see you once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one. Bye for now.